Hare Krishna. ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. Hare Krishna. So we'll continue our discussion on very interesting and important points that Prabhupada is trying to explain to us. And so we were discussing yesterday how the situations are arranged in this world to help us to realize that this material world is a place of suffering. This is the arrangement Lord makes for us to try to wake us up to create. So we also discussed how like this is not very important that how much we are becoming materially successful. What is important is how much we are spiritually becoming successful. At the end of the day, that is only counted. We have to try to get pleasure or real happiness, which is beyond mind and senses. Presently, our happiness is within the jurisdiction of mind and senses only. So we get pleasure from the senses, which are limited, which gives to the mind, mind processes, and then because the soul identifies with the mind, thinks, okay, I am this and I am getting this pleasure. So that's how we are caught. But there is a pleasure which is beyond mind and senses. Please try to understand this point. So there is a pleasure which is the senses are giving pleasure, mind is processing, and soul is experiencing. But the soul can directly experience pleasure which is beyond mind and senses. And that's actually what is to be understood and realized by all of us. And this is what Bhagavatam is trying to give. We cannot understand Bhagavatam because it is talking about absolute truth. So we will not be able to understand the absolute truth which is beyond the senses. It uh, is this Achintya and Sarvatita and Sarvascharya Swarupa. So it is cannot be understood with material level of perception. So it can be understood on a spiritual level. So with Bhagavatam. And now we'll continue the discussion. What he says is it evam sishvam bhuktva dukkham paugandameva cha alabdabhipshito jnanad idmanyu sucharpitah. In this way, the child passes through his childhood, suffering different kinds of distress, and attains boyhood. In boyhood also he suffers pains over desires to get things he can never achieve, and thus due to ignorance he becomes angry and sorry. So previously we were discussing how a living entity comes out and then how he is suffering. So we discussed not only children but also elder person should be very careful to protect their sense of Krishna consciousness and avoid unfavorable circumstances so that they may not forget their prime duty. So here from the birth to end of 5 years of age is called childhood. After 5 years up to the end of 15 years is called Pauganda. At 16 years of age, youth begins. The distress of childhood are already explained, but when The child attains boyhood. He is enrolled in a school which he does not like. He wants to play, but is forced to go to school and study and take responsibility for passing examinations. Another kind of distress is that he wants to get something with which to play, but circumstances may be such that he is not able to attain them and thus becomes aggrieved and feels pain. In one word, he is unhappy even in his childhood, just as he was unhappy in his childhood. What to speak of youth? Boys are apt to create so many artificial demands for playing, and when they do not attain satisfaction, they become furious with anger, and the result is suffering. What happens is that there is always an expectation, there is always a desire, and which actually causes a living entity to suffer. So it is not the situations, that's what I was telling. It's the senses and mind that is actually causing the distress for us. How we identify ourselves with the senses and mind. So here, when he is, so as soon as the child is born, first thing is what is happening is he's identifying with the body. So what is the problem in identifying the body is we'll try to understand here in a very uh, like analytical way. So identify with body. So there are senses and mind. And what is the problem with senses? Senses are limited. Problem with senses is senses are limited. Now we want to do unlimited things, but the senses don't allow us to do. They give so much restrictions in terms of uh, he want to win the match, but his senses don't permit. He's not so capable, he's not so efficient to become a very good cricketer or football or anything. I remember playing. I used to play football. So then is what is to happen is I used to I was not very good. So then I used to always get defeated. So I feel oh bad. Now we want to become topper, but it is not possible because it does not allow us. There is restrictions, and not everybody can get gold medal in Olympics because of limitation in the senses, and that causes distress because the desire is there but can't be fulfilled. And why is this happening? Because of the identification only. As such, there is no problem. Whatever is given, you can be happy with whatever is given to you. But we identify with them. Like say, we are, you we went to some rich person and he is distributing something. He gave somebody apples, he gave somebody bananas, he gave somebody mangoes. So now, like if we are not attached to any of these fruits, no matter whatever he gives, okay, anyway, it got free, you be happy, whatever you got. Now, if I am attached to some things, I'm identifying, or I got banana, he got mangoes, then there is distress. Otherwise, why we will feel okay, whatever we are getting. So, when we are in a very good understanding, so we don't mind what we are getting. Clear. Similarly, this is what we got it. So we should not be distressed. We should be happy. Okay, I got this type of senses. So let it be now. Let me engage them in properly in Krishna service. What is the problem? The problem is we start identifying with it and we think that this is actually this is me. That causes problem. Same with the mind also. Somebody's got some super duper intelligence. Somebody is very dumb. But it is okay. What is important? Na? What type of senses and mind is not important. What is important? How we are utilizing them in Krishna's service. So this is the most important. This is the most important thing. What is the difference between a pure devotee and an ordinary person is pure devotee can utilize everything is He may not be materially very talented, but whatever little bit he has, he can utilize in Krishna service. That is like we have the South Indian Brahmana who is trying to read Bhagavad Gita. It is not that Lord Chaitanya is very pleased because of his scholarship or any high birth or anything. He is only pleased because of devotion. Whatever he has, senses and mind, is completely engaging in Krishna service. So that is the most important thing that is to be understood. What is most important is he is utilizing everything 100%. So not that we need to have something special. I need to have special singer, special dancer, special orator, or special something manager. No need of any of these things. Whatever we have, that is what is given. Utilize in Krishna service. It's so simple. But what is happening is first thing is we identify with them. So this is the first mistake. We should not identify with them. We should know it is given to me by Krishna. It is not mine. It is given to me, utilize in Krishna service. Somebody may be given super talent. They should utilize in Krishna and they can do in a big way. Somebody is giving very simple. Prabhupada's God brothers are more scholarly than Prabhupada. But difference is what? Whatever scholarship Prabhupada had, he completely utilized in Krishna service. He became more successful. Means he could please Krishna and Guru very nicely. They empowered him. It is Prabhupada said, no. Some of the Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur lectures he could not understand. And his god brothers, they were very scholarly. Their books are very scholarly. But whatever Prabhupada had, 100% was in Krishna service. That is actually greatness. That's what Prabhupada is trying to show us. Whatever we have, utilize 100%. No need of getting something special. That much is sufficient for us to go back home back to Godhead. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamadachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vishishyate. Whatever we are having, if it is connected properly, Ishavashamidam Sarvam, properly, it's complete. We are complete when we are connected to the whole. That's all. No need of anything separate. Very simple formula. But we start identifying and then because we identify, then we compare. If I'm identifying with my body and then I compare with others' body, then what happens? Then there is a difference. Then there is envy, then there are desires, and then we keep on continuing in whole life trying to satisfy our mind and senses and trying to compete. So this is another problem. So that is one suffering. So he want to play, is forced to go to school and take the responsibility passing exam. Another kind of distress is want to get something with which to play, but circumstances may be such that he is not able to attain them. Because he is identifying, so he is always want to do something for the senses and mind. But unfortunately, there is a pleasure which is beyond mind and senses. So by doing like this, we can experience pleasure beyond mind and senses. So this is what we have to tap. This is what we want to achieve. So yoga is for this. Any yoga, bhakti yoga, jnana yoga. Yoga is to make us gain something which is beyond mind and senses. Sahadehena manena vardhamanena manyuna karoti vigraham kami kamishya ati yachamanaha. With the growth of the body, the living entities, in order to vanquish his soul, increases false prestige and anger, and thereby creates enmity towards similar lusty people. That's all. So this is, he creates enmity, increases false prestige and anger. Bhagavad Gita, 3rd chapter, verse 36. Arjuna inquired from Krishna about the cause of a living being's lust. It is said that the living entity is eternal and as such, qualitatively one with the Supreme Lord. Then what is the reason he falls prey to the material and commits so many sinful activities by the influence of material energy? This is a question Arjuna asked Krishna. In reply to this question, Lord Krishna said, Kamesha Krodesha Rajoguna Samadbhava. This lust circumstantially changes into anger, but lust and anger stands on the platform of mode of passion. Lust is actually the product of mode of passion, and in the absence of satisfaction of lust, the same desire transforms into anger on the platform of ignorance. When ignorance covers the soul, it is a source of his degradation to the most abominable condition of hellish life. And then he says to rise oneself from hellish life to the highest position of spiritual understanding is to transform this lust into love of Krishna. Sri Narottam Das Thakur, a great Acharya of the Vaishnava Sampradaya, said, Kama Krishna Karma Arpane. Due to our lust, we want many things for our sense gratification, but the same lust can be transformed in a purified way so that we want everything for the satisfaction of Supreme Personality of Godhead. Anger also can be utilized towards a person who is atheistic or who is envious of the personality of God. As we have fallen into this metal existence because of our lust and anger, the same two qualities can be utilized for the purpose of advancing in Krishna consciousness. So, this is the recommendation that is given. Of course, material lust, like I am lusty now and immediately I cannot become lusty towards Krishna. It is not possible. Basically, we have to overcome our conditioned nature, and then at a higher level, our desires will be for Krishna. So, completely utilizing Krishna service. It's not just immediately I am angry now and tomorrow I'll start becoming angry on who are non-devotees. It will not be possible. That anartha is anyway there. That cannot be changed. We have to get out of the passion. We have to come to mode of goodness. भूतैः पञ्चभिराराब्धे देहे देह अबुधो सकृत् अहं मम्यत् असद्ग्राह करोति कुमतिर्मतिम्. By such ignorance, the living entity accepts the material body, which is made of five elements, as himself. With this misunderstanding, he accepts non permanent things as his own and increases his ignorance in darkest regions. So, he accepts the material body, which has five elements. Of course, material body also, subtle material body also, which has mind and egos. And this misunderstanding, he accepts non permanent things as his own and increases his ignorance. The expansion of ignorance is explained in this verse. The first ignorance is to identify one's material body, which is made of five elements. We discussed, like no, in Ishopanishad, it is said that if we know the cause of our bondage, then we can be free from this bondage. How we are getting it? By knowing Vidyam cha Vidyam Jastat Vedo Bhayam Saha. We should know ignorance also, knowledge also. Ignorance means what, how we are getting entangled, and knowledge is about the Supreme Lord. That will give us eternal life. Both the things. So here we are told how we are getting ignorant, how we are getting entangled in this metal world. And in this way, ignorance expands. The living entity is eternal, but because of his accepting non-permanent things, misidentifying his interest, he is put into ignorance. Therefore, he suffers material pangs. So our identification is our problem. Nobody is responsible. More we are becoming mature in Krishna consciousness, more we understand it is our responsibility. Anybody is coming and giving any distress to us, still we are only responsible. Anybody is coming and doing any mischief, we are only responsible. That should be clear. Because it is we are kept in that situation. Tad artham kurute karma yad bodha yati samsritim योन्याति क्लेशम avidya karma bandhanaha. For the sake of the body, which is source of constant trouble to him, and which follows him because he is bound by ties of ignorance and fruitive activities, he performs various actions which cause him to be subjected to repeated birth and death. For the sake of body. See, our problem is our identification only. for the sake of body, which is the source of constant trouble. It is applicable to demigods also, which follows him because he is bound by the ties of ignorance and fruitive activities. He performs various actions which cause him to subjected to repeated birth and death. And Prabhupada says, it is said one has to work to satisfy Vishnu. Yajno by Vishnu. Without the purpose of satisfying supreme personal cause of bondage. So if we are identifying with the body, we start working for the body. But if we are identifying as a servant of the Lord, then we work for the Lord. Servant of Lord or I am body. So what is this? Both are called ego. So which ego I want to live in as a servant of Lord or I am body. So based on the ego, the action is performed. The Prabhupada is telling if you identify as servant of Krishna, then we do our activity as yajna for the satisfaction of the Supreme Lord. So done with the purpose of satisfying the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In the conditioned state, a living entity accepts his body as himself. I am the body and forgets his eternal relationship with the Supreme Lord and acts on the interest of his body. He takes the body as himself, his bodily expansions as his kinsman, and the land from which the body is born as worshipable. Mera Bharat Mahan. This is actually Dehatma Buddhi only. If I am saying I am an Indian, I don't know, I am this, I am that, we all Dehatma Buddhi. We want to protect our Indian culture, Dehatma Buddhi. In this way, he performs all sorts of misconceived activities which lead to his perpetual bondage and repetition of birth and death. Like all these people who are working, this Sanatani people who are trying to protect their culture and trying to work very hard in dharma and all these people, they are perpetually bound in the repetition of birth and death in various species because they are in Ijja Buddhi. In modern civilization, so-called national and government leaders mislead people more and more under the bodily conception of life, with the results that all the leaders with their followers are gliding down to hellish conditions, birth after birth. You see, this is actually what Prabhupada is trying to tell. All these leaders who are making work for all this bodily conception of life. We sympathize because that is favorable to preach Krishna consciousness. But we should be very clear that these people are going to hell only. All these people who are speaking on this dharma and all, they are also not anything good for us. But they are favorable in terms of helping us to preach Krishna consciousness. You say if the college principal is a Sanatani person, it is easy for us to go and give a program there. So in that way they are favorable. That's why we sympathize. But when it comes to the core understanding, we should know that they are in a Dehatma Buddhi, they will be perpetually bound in the repetition of birth and death. And some of them are Mayavadis, they will go to hell also. There are people who are following other philosophies where they say Krishna is an ordinary person or Krishna is everybody can become Krishna, all the demigods are equal to Krishna. Any of these philosophies, given the Sanatanis, they will all go to hell. This is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is. When it comes to, we are favorable, we are sympathetic to them sometimes because when we are in trouble of some legal issues, they help us. So that's the reason we are with them. But in the core, we know that we are not with them. An example is given in Srimad Bhagavatam. Andha yatande rupaniyamana. There are many. Sorry. When a blind man leads several other blind men, the result is that all of them fall down in a ditch. This is actually happening. There are many leaders to lead the ignorant public, but because every one of them is bewildered by the bodily conception of life, there is no peace and prosperity in human society. So-called yogis who perform various bodily feats and also is in the same category as ignorant people, because the Hatha Yoga system is especially recommended for persons who are grossly implicated in the bodily conception. We hear they are doing some meditation for world peace. It's not going to work anyway. It's all, they don't know how to get world peace. They're just doing some gymnastics because they're on bodily conception of life. They're not going to get anything and they want to remain happy in this material world. How you can be happy in this material world? When the creator himself said you cannot be happy here. Dukhalayam shashvatam. And how can you make it sukhalayam and shashvatam? It's a foolish attempt. The conclusion is that as long as one is fixed in the bodily conception, he has to suffer birth and death. That's all. He may be a Christian or a follower of Islam or is following Sanatan Dharma. All are suffering birth and death. How does it make a difference? You are born today in India, then next year, your next life, you are born in Pakistan. After that, you are born in some, you know, some Rome and all. And then you are a different person. It's just bodily conception. That's all. यद् असद असद्भिः पति पुनः शिष्णोदरकृतोद्यमैः आस्थितो रमते जन्तुस्तमो विशति पूर्ववत्. If therefore the living entity again associates with the path of unrighteousness, influenced by sensually minded people, engaged in pursuit of sexual enjoyment and the gratification of palate, he again goes to the hell as before. Now we have to see anybody who is doing this path of unrighteousness, influenced by sensually minded people, engaged in the pursuit of sexual enjoyment and the gratification of palate, will go to hell as before. It is not an exception. It is for everyone. It has been explained that the conditioned soul is put in under Tamishra and Tamishra hell conditions, and after suffering, there he gets a hellish body like a dog or a hog. After several such births, he again comes into the form of human being. Actually, sometimes the punishment is like that: seven bodies of a lizard, four bodies of a dog, 10 bodies of a rat, and then you get a body of a three lifetimes as a prostitute, and then one life as a chandala. Then you get a higher birth. It is not that one birth. If you read, don't according to Garuda Purana and all, the punishment is not one birth. The same species, the person takes birth as a four times, seven times, this many times, because the karma is so much accumulated. He has to go through that situations many. After several such births, and I was like, thought, okay, after one birth finish, one birth finish. No, many births as a dog, many births as a lizard. I was feeling, my God, it is very severe punishment. It is actually the living entity's desire to live like that. It is not the problem with the material nature. It is living entity's desire. He is getting fulfilled like that. And after suffering, the human being develops in the mother's abdomen and suffers there and comes out again. After all this suffering, if he gets another chance in a human body and wastes his valuable time in association of persons who are concerned with sexual life and palatable dishes, then naturally he again glides down to the same. So today it is going to happen. Everybody is interested in these things. Today is New Year, palatable dishes. In a very unfortunate situation, lakhs of animals are killed today. Yesterday, today, tomorrow. And from last 2 days, many, especially in Hyderabad, lakhs of goats and hen, chicken, they're they're slaughtered in lakhs, and very sinful situation. And everybody's whole city is going to get punished. everybody will get severe punishment. Very bad. Why? They want to be happy, palatable dishes. They are going to all this Andhata Mishra, Tamishra hellish life. They don't understand. They think we are enjoying, but they are not enjoying. They are going to suffer very badly. How they can kill so many animals? Very bad. Especially this part. This is very bad. Not all over India, but Hyderabad is the non-veg capital of India. People kill animals like anything. Very bad. Actually, when I was small, Hyderabad, the rain used to fall only in the night. Daytime, no rain. Night rain, and daytime it was good. And people can go work everything, and night rain. And it have like many times people are very pious, but slowly money started coming. People started becoming more and more impious. They still are pious, but still when it comes to eating non-veg, they increase it many folds. And very bad. You want to enjoy, but how can you kill? But you don't know this is all these hellish planets are waiting for you. And alcohol also. People drink very bad, left, right, center. And women, men, previously at least women were exempted. Now they are also very happily drinking. And they want also in the marriage matrimonial profiles, women they write what type of husband you want. They say he should be a social drinker. He should drink. You don't know. They want our husband to drink also, so they can also drink together. They will go to hell happily, along with the children. When devotee Mataji she was sharing. So she is in the apartment, and then she is conducts every week for children program. So one time, one father came along with the child. Okay, please help my child also. She's not listening to me. Take her to the program. I said, okay, she can also come. Then Mataji went to their house to visit. How is their house? They saw there is a bar in the house. There is one section with all the alcohols and all. And Mataji, what is this? He said, "Oh, I have so many friends. They come, so I have to cater their needs." Then she said, "How can we train your child? You are drinking here in the house, in front of your children. It's so bad. People are drinking now. Father and son, everybody is together drinking, and together they are eating. And unfortunately, they think that is enjoyment. I don't know what type of enjoyment. Yeah, just you know, uh, you're exciting your dopamine. I know you're actually hacking the dopamine system. Any enjoyment, na, it's very simple. Enjoyment means presently what we think as enjoyment is the dopamine. It's a what to say? The uh, dopamine is excited. When dopamine excites, say if I eat anything, any item touches my tongue, immediately that affects the dopamine and it excites. So the excitation of dopamine I consider as a pleasure. But somehow the items which I am eating, say vegetarian food and all, that also excites dopamine. After that, there is a protective system which will not infiltrate the dopamine. It will saturate the dopamine. So then what happens? I don't get same pleasure in that food after some time. If I'm eating vegetables, fruits, and milk items and all, after some time the dopamine no more gives you pleasure. Like I'm eating sweet, I like say certain sweet. I can take three, four, five. After that, I don't feel the same pleasure. You get bored. You'll stop eating that. But there are some items which will continuously you can go on eating. And dopamine goes on exciting. This is called hacking. So some items which bypasses this protective mechanism that causes an addiction. And dopamine also excites when you have a control on other people. And this control is actually non-veg also. And you are absolute control on person. You are killing the person. So this pleasure, people are getting this pleasure of control by killing animals, and then they are happily going to hell. Very bad actually. When we go on the street and today, All this Swiggy, Zomato, they have millions of lakhs of orders. Then general people are concerned for satisfaction of tongue and the satisfaction of genitals. All these parties, nightclubs, and now no, there are no rules because everybody is earning money. Men and women are earning money. Previously, women were not earning. It was little safe. They are not in public. They were restricted because they are dependent. No, because they became independent, they don't care now. This is okay. You enjoy, enjoy. That is metal life. Metal life means eat, drink, be merry, and enjoy, with no concerns for understanding one's spiritual identity and the process of spiritual advancement. Since materialistic people are concerned with the tongue, belly, and genitals, if anyone wants to advance in spiritual life, must be very careful about associating with such people. So we should not go in contact with all these nonsense people. And this is a very bad way. And it says to associate with such materialistic people is to commit purposeful suicide in human form of life. It is said, therefore, the intelligent man should give up such undesirable association and always mix with saintly persons. When he's in association with saintly persons, all his doubts about spiritual expansion of life are eradicated, and he makes a tangible progress on the path of spiritual understanding. It is also sometimes found that people are very much addicted to particular type of religious faith. Hindus, Muslims, and Christians are faithful to their particular type of religion, and they go to church, temple, or mosque. But unfortunately, they cannot give up the association of persons who are too much addicted to sex life and satisfaction of it. How many times Prabhupada is telling in one purport? Again and again and again. Prabhupada is trying to make us understand. This is actually the cause. Movies and hotels. So, what is the main thing for enjoyment for people? Movies, and of course now there are other bars, clubs, and all these things. Actually, it is sex life only. What they do in clubs, they dance with opposite sex, or now same sex also, or that also. It's all perversion only. Men, men, women, women. It is all the same thing. Clubs is for drinking, eating, and having close contact with opposite sex. सत्यं सुचां धया मन्युमां बुद्धिशीर्हृदि हिरिर्यशः क्षमा समोदमः भगश्चेति यत्सङ्गात् याति संक्षयम्. He becomes devoid of truthfulness, cleanliness, mercy, gravity, spiritual intelligence, shyness, austerities, fame, forgiveness, control of mind, control of senses, fortune, and all such opportunities. Now, see what all things are lost: truthfulness, cleanliness, mercy, gravity, spiritual intelligence, shyness, austerity, fame, forgiveness, control of mind, control of senses, fortune, and all such opportunities. Such a great disaster. Actually, if we want to acquire wealth, real wealth, these are real wealth. Why? This cannot be purchased by money. This cannot be purchased. We cannot acquire. By giving money, I cannot purchase truthfulness. I have to develop internally. This cleanliness, now it's not just external. You can have some maid and who can clean. But what about internal cleanliness? What about mercy? No matter how much we pay, this cannot be achieved. So this to be cultivated. And now, and this should be cultivated from childhood only. It cannot come in between. And so education should be for these things. This is education for character, which is not at all given in this present day school. They only give information. Only information. No, because they themselves don't have. They what they can teachers don't have this. What they can teach to the children. They are also interested in all these things. I remember in my school, the teachers were fighting in the corridors. Of course, rarely it happened. That time it was quite good. They are very good teachers. One time it happened. They were no shouting in, and actually they felt very embarrassed because it happened in front of. But now they don't mind. Now, at least that time it was like a big issue for the whole school, and it was like, how can they shout in front of the children with each other? So yeah, student don't listen to when they will listen to teachers, when they see that the teachers having that quality now, then it is easy for children to listen. They have to maintain. Yeah, that is another problem with because they are paying too much fees, they don't listen. And another is that the parents they don't give value to teachers, then it is very difficult for the parents also, the teachers also. They also cannot do much. They don't want the children to develop all this. They become very arrogant. Still the teacher has an influence. If the teacher is working very hard on his personal development, he is internally very strong, he can still have effect on the children, at least most of them. Some people are gone case, at least 10-20% they can live, but remaining still they have the effect. And Prabhupada says those who are too addicted to sex life cannot understand the purpose of absolute truth, nor can they be clean in their habits, not to mention showing mercy to others. You see, this is actually no mercy, only kill so many animals. And they cannot be clean in their habits, very bad habits. They cannot remain grave, and they have no interest in ultimate goal. The ultimate goal of life is Krishna or Vishnu. But those who are addicted to sex life cannot understand that their ultimate interest is Krishna consciousness. Such people have no sense of decency, and even in public street and public plaza, they embrace each other just like cats and dogs and pass it off in the name of love making. Public display of love and public display of affection and public display of affection. Pretty. And then there is public display of anger also, PDA. And this is what happens is then material nature cooperates with such people. They say, oh, you want to do in public? Because in human body, people are taking objection. You are doing, they consider it as a nuisance. Don't worry, we'll give a body of a cat and a dog. You do in public, nobody minds. That's how they get body of cat and dog. Whoever behaves, public display. So Prabhupada is writing, such unfortunate creatures can never become materially prosperous. Behavior like that of cats and dogs keep them in the position of cats and dogs. They cannot improve any material condition, not to speak of becoming famous. Such foolish persons may even make a show of so-called yoga, but they are unable to control the senses and mind, what which is the real purpose of practice of yoga, which is the real purpose of yoga practice. Such people can have no opulence in their lives. In a word, they are very unfortunate. This is the problem. Not real opulence. They have opulence, that's what we are telling. What is real opulence? This is real opulence, which cannot be purchased by men. But they have so much material opulence, which is of no use anyway. Thus, तेषु असान्तेषु मूढेषु खण्डितात्मास्व असाधुषु सङ्गं न कुर्याच्चोच्चेषु योषित् क्रीडामृगेषु च. One should not associate with a coarse fool who is bereft of knowledge, of self-realization, and who is no more than a dancing dog in the hands of a woman. Dancing. Such a nice analogy. Krida Mrugeshu. Yoshit Krida Mrugeshu. The restriction of association with such foolish person is especially mentioned for those who are in the line of advancement in Krishna consciousness. Advancement in Krishna consciousness involves developing the qualities of truthfulness, cleanliness, mercy, gravity, intelligence in spiritual knowledge, simplicity, material opulence, fame, forgiveness, and control of mind and sense. All these qualities are to be manifested with the progress of Krishna consciousness. But if one associates with the Shudra, a foolish person who is like a dancing dog in the hands of human, then he cannot make any progress. Lord Chaitanya has advised that any person who is engaged in Krishna consciousness and who desires to pass beyond material nuisance must not associate himself with women or with persons interested in material enjoyment. For a person seeking advancement in Krishna consciousness, such association is more dangerous than suicide. Actually, there is no problem with women. Problem is it's the lust of the man. That is the problem. He comes in contact, and generally women are not affected. Men is affected. That is the problem because their thoughts are always going wrong direction for men. That's why they are told keep distance. You are not fit for this. And then with persons interested in material enjoyment, that is also dangerous. And and like you, no, I'm just don't take any offense. I'm just giving uh, a general this observation. Like we'll find many of the uh, uh, prostitutes are female, not male, because women don't need this. They don't pay in the market to get that pleasure. Men pays to get pleasure. That means the need is for men. So that's why men is recommended. They have this weakness. They should keep distance. It is not the problem with women. I'm sorry, because I just trying to tell the point. But why Prabhupada is why this instruction is given the scriptures to explain that point. I gave this example. न ततास्य अवेन मोहो बन्धाश्चान्य प्रसंगतः योषित संगाद्यता पुंसो यथा तत्संगी संगतः. The infatuation and bondage that occur to a man for attachment to any other object is not as complete as the resultant from attachment to women or to the fellowship of men who are fond of men. So this is the point. Like for men, this is he is kept in that weakness. This why it is kept in that situation. Otherwise, he will not take responsibility because he don't need much. Only one weakness is kept. Otherwise, why he will take care of wife and children if he don't have that need? So material nature is arranged such a way that man is given this weakness, and that weakness forces him to work very hard to maintain the wife and children. Otherwise, if you see, man is very simple. Any of the unmarried man's house, if you go, he live very simple. He don't need many things. Many of them sleep on the floor only. Unmarried men, they have bed, or sometimes they don't mind. In the hall only, they'll put some mat and they sleep. They don't need much. When woman comes, then all the property, everything comes. Now, why he maintains all these things? Why he is maintaining wife? Why he is maintaining children? Because he has this weakness. He want to enjoy. That is why he continues serving them, maintaining them. He want to fulfill that desire, and then he's caught up. That weakness is a arrangement by the material nature to make man work very hard. And woman has the need. Woman, her need is it is woman means three means who expands. She feels secure when she has things around. She needs uh, things around her where she feels secure, like nice, and she has this. aesthetic, some sense of it should be neat and clean, things should be there, nice wardrobes with there, and then you have nice, curtains, sofa curtain, everything should be proper, and that is what her security is. And then why a man will supply these things? Because he is weak. And woman, she's happy. You give all the things. She feels, and she has the need to care. That is also another thing. Woman's need is caring, weakness is to care, and men's weakness is to enjoy. So then she cares for somebody, she cares for husband, she cares for children. She is very satisfied. So in that way, the cycle is complete. The whole life after life. Otherwise, the children are born, they'll throw in the dustbin because they don't want to take that risk. But they take it because women has that weakness of caring and men has a weakness of enjoying. So both of them will take care of the children, and then the cycle continues. So that's how the system. So Prabhupada read, attachment to women is so contaminating that one becomes attached to the condition of mental life not only by the association of women but by the contaminated association of persons who are too attached to them. There are many reasons for our conditional life in the material world, but the topmost of all such causes is the association of women, as will be confirmed in the following stanza. Now, Prabhupada is not misogynistic and is criticizing women. He is trying to make us understand the psychology. We have to understand this in a psychological point of view, not just as male, female. It's a system that is made. That is the psychophysical nature, how they are created. So for man, it is dangerous because that is the weakness he has. So what is a mistake with women? It's not a mistake of women. It's a weakness of man here. Now people take it wrongly. They say Prabhupada is criticizing women. Where is he criticizing? He's telling the weakness of men. This is a wrong understanding. In Kali Yuga, association with women is very strong. In every step of life, there is association with women. If a person goes to purchase something, the advertisements are full of pictures of women. It is a psychological attraction for women is very great, and therefore people are very slack in spiritual understanding. You see, it's not problem with women; it's a problem in the man only. The Vedic civilization, being based on the spiritual understanding, arranges association with women very cautiously. Out of the four social divisions, the members of the first order, namely the brahmachari, the third are the vanaprastha, and the fourth are sannyasi, are strictly prohibited from female association. Only in one order, the household, is their license to mix with women under restricted conditions. In other words, attraction for women's association is the cause of the material conditional life, and anyone interested in being free from this conditional life must detach himself from the association of women. So this is the point. Yeah, then there is some famous shloka. We'll discuss it tomorrow. I'm really sorry if any of you got offended, but I'm just trying to repeat what is there here and trying to understand. Any questions, comments? Oh, thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Actually, now there is one book one devotee wrote. He's telling how Prabhupada books has racism and all this very offensive actually. No, Prabhupada is not talking about racism. Prabhupada is not talking about sexism and all these things. He's talking about psychology, and that is actually what we have to learn. Okay, we'll discuss on it tomorrow.